And we are live. It is, what is it? October the 12th, 2020, 8:02 p.m. Eastern. Welcome to Canucks with Guitars. I'm your host, Ben, and welcome to this very special EVH special tribute thing. And I just realized I'm on solo. So let's bring in...
Very special. What's up, man?
You know, doing an EVH tribute. We've talked a lot of EVH since we discovered each other in this whole Googleverse of things.
Yeah.
So what better way to pay homage to the man without actually having to attempt to play any of his licks? Let's just talk about it. Part. And, you know, and it's clear for everybody so they can actually see stuff if I hold it up. And yeah, so we've already got 20 people in here in under a minute, nice. Which is awesome.
That's awesome.
So let's see, who do we have here in the chat? And I will say, I believe Ryan X was in here around noon today.
Nice.
I don't see his comment in here now, but it was in here around noon today. We've got the lovely Sandra in here, moderator to the stars, and me. We've got Zach Thong, some guy named Bent Tom. I don't know how he got here.
Watch out for that guy, though. Yeah, you got to watch out for that one. For sure.
Randy Crooks is here. Awesome. Craig Tomlinson. Music Therapy Laz, my Hungarian homie. My most awesome sister is here. She's just packing up dinner. Nice. Hey, Amanda. Let's see here. We've got Martin Lemaire. We have Will Varela. We have Jack Collins. We have uneffing believable. You know what? Hell, unfucking believable. I'll say it. We're under 2 minutes, but you know, last night was a good night, so screw YouTube and Google. We have my awesome cousin Doug, down and back with Corn Doug, who does have a special announcement during the show. Doug, I did take that photo you sent to me last night, so when you drop it in the chat here, I will show off that photo. Let's see here. We've got ZD351 saying, "What should I type here?" Perfect. Perfect. Enter comment here. Let's see. We got Knucklehead Zero, our newest Patreon here. Awesome. Hip Metalworks, Charles75N, Thomas Santiago. Sean Hurwitz is here. Good to see you, Sean.
Sean, I just watched another one of your videos today, man. You have the most amazing videos. Like, it was concise, but it was like an hour's worth of material. It was awesome, dude. Thanks. I appreciate it. Really do.
Brad Miller says he's working on it. We got it. Papa Blue is here. I got to scroll back because it skipped ahead. Ray's here. Good to see you, Ray. Ray's got a new Wolfgang on the way. Keith H. Nice. Dan in New Jersey. Awesome. I think I saw Mark Taft in here somewhere. There he is.
I saw him, yeah.
Awesome. Welcome back, Mark. Mark was without internet for a while, so it's good that you got some internet bandwidth. Man, I can't even talk tonight.
Back on the Googles.
Yeah, I'm going to have to drink or something. Dan in New Jersey.
Mine's just seltzer.
All right. All right.
Laz. My Eastern European brother. Hey, I got to give it up for Laz. I mean, we got that Eastern European thing common. He's a little more pure than I am. I'm a little bit more of a mutt, but, you know, I love you,
Well,
Laz.
You know, Tom, for all the people I've ever interviewed on this channel, his interview was the most unique.
Yeah. I love though when the one of you at NAMM with him and he's speaking, then he starts speaking Hungarian.
Yeah, that's it.
Like if you just saw that, you would think it's crazy. Like his accent, everything like still sounds like if you heard it and you didn't hear him speak English, you'd almost, you know, you would not know that he, you know, spoke both languages perfectly, you know?
Exactly.
That was an awesome video though.
And yes, cool. Well, you know, Tom, my cousin Doug is endorsed by Octane Cornhole Bags.
Yes.
Well, they did a limited run over the weekend, and money going towards the Canadian Cancer Foundation. Check out these bad boys.
Wow. That's cool. Are they still, can you still purchase them, or was it just an internal thing?
That's a good question, Tom. They may or may not be sold out, and there may or may not be a set coming this way.
Nice.
Hey, Max. Good to see you, my man. So yes, I saw those. I was like, if there's a set of cornhole bags that I have to have in my life, those are the ones.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Who's this guy? Of course, of course he has stripe.
You whip those out, yeah. That would be great. Very cool.
So yeah, if Doug hasn't already put the link in there, search Octane cornhole something. He can say it. I think Doug's a mod in here. He can say whatever the hell it is. But yeah, he says there may or may not be some left.
Let's check it out.
Nice.
And if you just want to see Ben and Doug having a good time, you got to check out the NASCAR show. You got to check out the Canucks. Because even if you know almost zero, because I'm learning more, I'm getting better, I'm learning.
Yeah, you are.
If you know very little about NASCAR racing in general, you'll learn a lot. But also just to hear the banter between Ben and Doug back and forth, that's worth it alone. Just, pure enjoyment.
Very, very true. I have a blast doing it. I absolutely do. So yes. So the man, we lost him 6 days ago. I have a feeling it's going to be there. Speaking of cousin Doug, he knows and my sister knows there's a handful of people that have passed away during my lifetime that I don't say they passed away, but we lost them. Mm-hmm. And last Tuesday we lost Edward Van Halen after a long battle with cancer. Survived by his son Wolfgang, and 65 years old, very influential on both of us. And so tonight, even though I believe Eddie has been sober for some time, screw it, I'm having a pint in his honor. I don't have vodka. I will say one of the things I learned from Eddie is a love of vodka. Him and Joe Walsh,
right at the mixing board. Half bottle of vodka at the mixing board.
Yep.
I'm just glad it's 6 days in, because if this was Tuesday or Wednesday, I don't think I could do this.
We look like Steve.
I was watching Steve and I looked like him.
Yep.
Like I was like hyperventilating and stuff. I mean, just to be honest, it was, yeah. I guess not surprising knowing ups and downs of his health, but shocking still.
Well, because that family, they've always been very close to the vest.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, like Caleb mentioned, he said that he had, and Caleb, had specified, this is not information he would have shared previously or whatever, but someone after the fact had given him information that Eddie had been for a couple months in the hospital there. And that, that's when Caleb said, for levity, made a slight joke and said that the CIA needs to hire the Van Halen brothers, because who can keep something that top secret, in LA, in California,
Yeah. Well, and especially this year too, because anybody that was admitted to a hospital, we heard about it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
even more so this year.
So, yeah. So, very much indeed, rest in peace, because a 2-year battle, by the sounds of things, I've heard a couple of things that I'm not going to say on air,
right,
because I don't know if it is public knowledge or not, because it's come from somewhat close to the camp. And let's just say he's at rest. So,
yeah.
Awesome. Max was asking where my sister is. She's in here. She's kind of lurking. She's busy post Thanksgiving, if that's a word. Post Thanksgiving.
Sure. I like Sandra said, assault that like button.
Yes.
The imagery that I get. That's great.
Nice. Unbelievable. Yep. See, there she is. I'm listening. Yeah, so anyone that has a fond anecdote or something about Eddie or a comment, definitely pass along in the chat. Unfortunately, actually, I'm not going to get to whether or not seeing him live, but Tom, where's the first time and place you heard Van Halen?
My buddy's house, in his living room, big old school stereo on vinyl, when I was approximately 4. I didn't know what I was listening to. I just knew it was his dad was, a big fan, had all the albums up until that point. And we weren't supposed to be doing it, but then we got it set up, and he had an uncle that was 19. So he was like 15 years older than us and like 15 years younger than his parents, in the middle, like a late child. And so he was like, you guys got to check this out. And I just remember the blaring, like, analog stereo, like, and I just remember, and I was telling someone this the other night, I think it was or earlier this week rather, on with Tony, with Fruitcake Tony. And I just remember like us looking at him just going again, and like him being like, okay, well, why don't you just keep listening, since on vinyl, just let the needle run. And I remember him getting frustrated, but I just remember like a little kid getting fed like candy that's never had candy before, again, right. like ice cream, until my stomach hurted. I wasn't going to stop eating it. That's how it was, except it didn't make my stomach hurt. So that's what it was for me. And then, when I was a teenager, that's all I wanted to play. I mean, I was really into Hendrix for a while. I was really into Zeppelin, but my bedroom, and God bless my mother and my parents, because all four walls of it and the ceiling were covered in either posters or cutouts or just pictures of guitars from Van Halen. Literally, like all four walls. Then I finished that, so I had to then do the ceiling. And I just remember I saved all my lawn mowing money. I had the original block letter, first run 5150 half stack, and I would open my window. I would put it in my window, and I had an old school wireless, and I could go about a half a block. It wasn't, crazy good like they are now, and just be blaring out of my window just with that thing up on like 6 or 7. But there were many other times where my dad would come in, it's 2 a.m. What are you doing? On 3. He's like, 3 on that amp, super loud, But they were always patient. My parents were always patient. They knew that was my passion, what I was really into. But I mean, I would come to my room and I was either playing guitar or listening, mostly playing Van Halen from like 3:30 when I got home till 11 or 12 at night. And then I would turn the amp off and I'd stay up till like 2 a.m, and keep playing guitar. And that's the amazing thing to me, is I never felt like, I think like any of us, that I could ever get a handle on the stuff, but I felt like, okay, that's pretty good. And then I would go back and listen to it and I'd be like, wait, what BPM are they playing that? Like, I remember trying to learn I'm the One. I'm like, okay, I got the shuffle thing, I could get the triplet thing. Then I heard a thing, and forget about if they're playing it live, where it's like, upwards of, 1.5 times the speed. But I was like, there's no way, like, no, that's not possible. So for me, it was like, to sum it up, I guess, because and I ramble and that's all over the place, but Eddie was the only guitarist for me that I watched. Like, I remember watching Live Without a Net, and then comparing that to like watching Song Remains the Same. When I watched Jimmy Page play live, I was always nervous. Like, is he going to pull it off? Is he going to get it? I felt like, and this is a weird way to make an analogy out of it, I guess, but for me watching Eddie, I always felt like, oh, of course he could pull it off. And there weren't many guys like that. Like, I remember going to see a couple guitar players live, and I'm like, oh, is he going to get that part right? But I remember seeing Eddie, and it was like he was smiling while looking around, and he still nailed the part,
Right. I want to welcome in Robot Master Switch, Fruitcake Tony's here. Awesome. Roadie's Jam Cave, Adam D, Michael Easter. Wow, we got a whole bunch of people joining in. Jose Benito Martinez Jr. Love that name. For me, it was, let's see, the summer. I think it was the summer of '83, possibly early '84. I'm not sure if '84 was out yet or Jump was out as a video yet, but because I remember this was close by. And who do we have joining in with us? Mr. B-Rad Miller.
I got no audio. Why do I have?
What's up, Brad?
He's got no audio. That's what's up. Check. Testes. 1, 2, 3. What?
No, maybe.
Oh,
4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
All right, hang on. I'll kick you out and kick you back in.
Yeah, I got no audio.
All right, there and there. How about now? How about now?
Any better?
Nope. He would have said so.
I remember I ran audio once for this show, and it was going to be a big show. They had like some 80s singers coming in and stuff. It was, when I was down in Miami. And I remember one of the kids sitting there going, test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the engineer, the head engineer, looked at him and goes, if you effing say 4, 5, 6 one more time, I'm going to shove this mic stand through your face. And the guy's like, all right, testing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And he goes, thank you. He goes, what are we playing? Are we you're trying to play a 9, 8 or something? Where's this 4, 5, 6?
Nice. Very nice.
How you doing, Brad?
Okay, so a bunch of people are telling me, Jump premiered New Year's Eve 83. So I think it was, late summer, fall of 83. I was at my grandfather's house, and I just got my first Walkman. So I had maybe 1, 2 cassettes. I think I had, Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA, and the Purple Rain soundtrack were the first couple of cassettes that I happened to pick up.
Everyone had to have those two, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so an older cousin who had been visiting from LA earlier in the year, he had left this copied bootleg cassette behind, right? And I remember on side A, it said, Van Halen, Diver Down. And I was, don't know what this is. And for life of me, I don't remember what was on the other side of some other band, and it was rubbed out even at that time. So you couldn't, because it was written in pencil. So you had no idea. See, Amanda knows she was there. Yeah. And so I put in the cassette, I rewound the cassette and I put it on. And, the first thing I hear is Where Have All the Good Times Gone? And I'm just like,
yeah.
Okay, you hear that first riff, and David Lee Roth, woo-wee! And I'm just like, all right.
Yeah.
And then, and then just progressing through the album, you got Cathedral on there. I'm like, what the hell is this? Is that an organ? But I could hear string slides, from remembering from my dad playing acoustic guitar. You'd hear the string slide. Yeah. Hey, Henry Annie, and we got 7/8 in here. Metal Mike, Electro Omega. Wow, everybody's joining in. This is awesome. So yeah, hearing Cathedral and
have a good night, Sean.
See you, Sean. Thanks for tuning in, buddy.
All right, man. Go ahead. Jay's here. Hey now, what's up, Jay?
What was the intro into Pretty Woman? The instrumental.
Oh, on the
yes, you are. Yay, Brad can hear us.
Right, last night. Intruder, right?
Intruder.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, and I was just like, what is this?
Brain fart.
And I'm like, this is just awesome. To let's see, 83, I would have been maybe 9 years old. And just getting into rock music, basically whatever was on TV is what I listened to. And then, Jump right after that. And I'm just like, whoa, this is what these guys look like? Holy crap. Yeah. And big reason I wanted to learn how to play. I always say it's 3 guys. My dad, Eddie Van Halen, Ace Frehley, because Eddie was always, he had that smile. And he's just, look at me. And I remember, I'm like, saying to my mom, this is a Van Halen, type thing. And she's like, that guy there, the guitar player, he's dating Valerie Bertinelli from One Day at a Time. I'm like, no way. Because, of course, we all had a crush on Valerie Bertinelli. I'm like, this dude's awesome. He plays guitar and I'm like, winning. Long before Charlie Sheen, Eddie was winning.
Hey, Ty Price is there.
Hey, Ty. Good to see you, my man. So, yes.
Oh, dear Lord.
Dear Lord, indeed. There he is. Tuning in from Louisville, Kentucky, after recently writing in his ballot for himself to be president, from what I heard.
I want to know, Quentin, are you guys still in lockdown, like on a curfew?
Well, he should be on a lockdown curfew anyways, right?
I know. He should always be on one.
Especially since he got a new bag of Happy Pills yesterday.
As evidenced by video, you're not like giving inside information. There's a full video about it. Lest anyone think Ben is trying to call him out, he has his own video about it. Oh, Pops.
So, Brad, welcome. Yeah. Thanks for taking part in this celebration of the man, the king, Edward Van Halen. So, where's the first time and place you heard Van Halen? And what was the song?
So it was 1978. So when the first album came out.
We're going deep here, folks. We're going deep.
I'm the old guy in the group here. So
no, you just have attained a higher level. It's like World of Warcraft.
Okay.
It's like you're level whatever. You're at a higher level. That's all. It's more.
Yeah, I'm definitely leveled up. That's for sure.
Have you checked out this band Van Halen? He's like, I heard him in '78.
Yeah.
Not teaching me anything.
Yeah, a friend of mine. I wish he had sent me a copy of the ad from the paper, but he saw them in March of '78. They opened for Journey, and actually it was Journey, Ronnie Montrose, and Van Halen. Wow. So Van Halen was like the opening band for Journey. And at that time, there was no internet. There was no anything other than I would call him every once in a while. And he was like, dude, I just went to this concert. I'm coming to Florida at the end of the month. I'm bringing you something. So he shows up right around the 1st of April, around spring break time, and walks in with Van Halen 1. They were not playing it. I lived in the Panhandle, so the radio in the Panhandle was horrible. So what is Will saying? Oh, yeah, right. And we dropped the album on, and the first song he plays was Running with the Devil, and I was just like, what is that? So we listened to that album, I don't know, 3 or 4 times that day, easy. And I had a friend that I met when I was playing in bar bands back then, and he worked at an AM radio station, and he did the overnight shift, and he used to. So you would play Dark Side of the Moon and Do You Feel Like I Do anytime there was a bathroom break needed. So
sure. Yep.
So I show up unannounced and I'm like, dude, you have to listen to this. I put that thing on and we played the whole album on AM radio overnight twice.
Nice.
Very nice.
He ended up actually having to drive to Pensacola to pick up a copy of the album because it wasn't out. And
I can just imagine people are hearing this going, what the heck is this?
Yeah. And he would get a call every once in a while. I would hang out there sometimes, and man, the phones were just lit up all night. What the heck are you playing? What is this? So kind of broke it in Fort Walton Beach AM radio station. Helped break the Van Halen.
This is the guy, folks, right here. This is the guy.
That's cool.
Hey, Sixth Stream Brian is here. Thank you, Jay. He just noticed the shirt, and I am actually drinking Bud Light Tall Boys tonight because I will not lower my standards to drink Schlitz, even on air. There is not enough super chats in the world for me to drink Schlitz.
I want to know if Jay recovered from his beverage accident.
Right. Hey, Milt. Good to see you, man. Guitar Man 45.
I felt for Jay when that happened. I've been there, and it's just
Charlie S is here. Michael Cross. Oh, Eddie Van Haskell. And John, I like that idea. He's talking to ZD351 is thinking about changing his name to 35150 to show respect. I
cool.
like that. Because we know it, and we'd still know it was him. And 66 Theo Sue, albums in 8 tracks. You got it. Bud Light was, you know what? There is such a limited beer selection at the liquor store right over here. that it was like, I don't know, I could get that or Molson Canadian, which no, I haven't drank a Molson Canadian since I was underage. That ain't happening.
Unbelievable. About right.
Even in Canada, probably. And let's be honest. I will say they also had the Tall Boys of Bud Light on for the same price as a regular 6-pack of Bud Light. So, which is still, bear with me. Even with the exchange, guys, I'm paying about $10 American for a 6-pack.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah.
A Bud Light? Ew. No.
Taxes or?
It's a neutral beer. You know, you can get it anywhere, and it tastes the same anywhere you go.
Are there breweries, though, in Canada?
Oh, lots.
No, that came out the wrong way. Are there Budweiser breweries, like locale?
No, it's brewed by Labatt's.
Oh, okay.
And the way the stupid rules for advertising alcohol in Canada is, like any beer company, they can only advertise like one regular brand of beer, one light beer. So it's all Budweiser, Bud Light in Canada. Like, I swear, I see more Labatt's Blue advertising in the US, hands down, than anywhere in Canada. It's almost impossible to buy a Labatt's Blue in a bar in Canada, but Budweiser's everywhere now. And I'm like, God
well, I
damn
remember every summer we'd go to Canada. I remember, and I was a kid at the time, but we'd go 2 weeks to go, to go fishing, and it was always Labatt's Blue, Labatt's, or Labatt's 50, and then they had the big. They would get these because we were like with 40 people. We had a crew of guys that all went fishing, just fishing nuts, hobbyists, and then we brought 2 professional fishermen with us that cooked and cleaned. Well, we cooked it, but they cleaned, filleted all our fish and everything for us. They were like, it'll take you guys an hour. We'll be done in 4 minutes. Like, and they would also scout out and tell us what areas were hot. So like we paid them as a group and it didn't come out to too much money and it was worth it. And they were cool guys. But anyway, I remember going up there and I always remember the big champagne size bottles. I think it was the Labatt 50 ones. And I just remember they always get.
We have giant bottles of Corona too that are like the size of wine bottles or bigger.
That's cool.
Yeah. I've been lit around the campfire a few times with those. And I saw the
Molson Triple X
owner is here. Good to see you. And yes, Papa Blue, you say a mega switch. Yeah, the Ibanez style super switch is what you need for the access to wire it up like that. Oh, excuse me.
So Ben, is that a second Music Man sitting back there? Do you have a second?
No. We have the Music Man and we have the Wolfgang Special.
Okay.
It's rare that they're both out at the same time.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing the Music Man before. So.
Yeah, I put it out. It's kind of an homage, the best I can with what I got. And this will be my natural Music Man access.
That's such a great top.
Wow, that is great.
Man, she's got a nice top.
I got it from the same guy I got the Wolfgang from.
Oh, wow.
Zach Thong says, I hear the Trenton Creek, that'd be the Trent River, has some big pickerel fish. Well, the guy who commented right above you, Mr. Milt T, would know quite a bit about that, along with his brother Mark Taft here in the chat. I'm just saying, there are a couple fishermen right there. But long story short, oh yeah. Yeah, some good fishing around here, that's for sure.
Michael Easter was saying.
I'm working on that. Hold on. Sorry.
Michael Easter was saying he gives an honorable mention to Push Comes to Shove for his favorite solo. I do. I missed it. I have to look here what he said his favorite was, but I love that solo. Push Comes to Shove.
That should be it, Sandra.
Oh, his favorite is Beat It.
Back almost.
That's. You know what it is about the Beat It solo?
I almost come back to. I want to say, is it the solo to Out of Love where he starts with that huge bend that he picks a few times? Saturday night when like Steve from Boston, he's like, who does that? I'm like, exactly. Right. Who does that?
Have you ever seen people try to notate that with tab and they just say like approximate or something, and the people they try to write it out for like a
because you're playing 3 notes on 1 fret.
Yeah.
You know, and then the resolve it 2 frets down. Because I play around, I'm like, yeah, who does that?
And the weirdest thing is
amazing.
if you try to learn that part, you got to sit there for like an hour and do every kind of little degradation, every little gradation, like of slightly moving the finger down. Oh, it's right there, you know. And then you just want to give up, and you're like, all right, whatever. Because it probably was inherent, I'm guessing, like just the feel of it, you know.
Yeah.
So
Metal Mike 5150, welcome. Good to see you, man. He says, have to come up there and go fishing with you, Ben, next year. Well, here's the way it works. I come along, I don't fish, but I drink beer. I tell tales, I drink beer, and I watch others fish. That's how I fish.
Wait,
I will cook
how
the
else
fish.
would you fish?
If you catch it and you clean it, I will gladly cook it up for you because I can cook fish in a wide variety of ways. I grew up in a seafood restaurant.
And I will
that is why I don't fish.
I'll tell anyone that's, you know, not a big fish fan and has only had, you know, frozen and thawed, you know, fish. And, oh, it tastes so fishy. Get fish when it's fresh. I mean, preferably if you can catch it yourself, cook it within an hour or two of killing it. Put it in a pan with a little oil. It tastes like fried chicken. It's so good. Like, you know,
no.
Fish with ketchup.
No.
How does it stay on the hook? I guess you just get a lure with a lot of, like, you know, material on it. You just soak the material in the ketchup.
He just hooks it through the bottle and throws the whole thing.
Oh.
I see a few people mention their favorite solos or first solos that they tried to learn. Yeah, and somebody mentioned Hear About It Later. Yeah, what a great track. A song I used to know how to play, and I have no idea how to play it now. I listen to it, I'm like, how did I know? I used to have this down. I worked for this on hours, and now not a clue.
Yeah, I can't remember any of it either. I started to this week relearn some stuff, and get frustrated again with "I'm the One" because, you know, I mean, I could play that song before and I was able to play it, but to play it up to speed they do in concert, like I can barely keep with the album. And then when you listen to any live thing, they play it much faster even. And I'm like, oh, to keep that swing feel at that speed. Oh, Walleye.
Yes.
I love Walleye.
I will agree.
I love Walleye too.
Yeah.
He unfucking believable says Larry Lalonde comes close with the bending strings. Well, that's because with Primus music, you have to bend into notes that aren't on the fretboard.
Yeah.
You know? Because Les Claypool's like, here, play over this. How?
Another microtonal song? Isn't that every song?
Yeah. Hey, Sexy Beater Viking Wizard, the badass Aussie. Yes, I have enjoyed many a fried walleye, that's for sure.
Ben, Fruitcake Tony's got a question for you.
Yeah.
And for Brad. What's your favorite song off of Van Halen 3?
I couldn't name a song off Van Halen 3. I just remember half the album.
I think I can name 2.
I had to look, to be quite honest.
I'm going to have to look, to be honest with you. Give me a second.
Yeah.
I just remember, wasn't Eddie wearing like a jester hat / toque in the video?
Wearing like, he was
in the fingerless gloves.
He was dressed like a little
fire in the hole. Yeah, that's it.
Popper little boy from like the 1860s. You know, he had the news cap on. He had the gloves. They were knit gloves, but they had the fingers were cut out. So I think the interview they just released from MTV must be right around Van Halen 3 time, because he's wearing that same outfit that he and trust me, I love this man, so I'm not disparaging him. I'm pointing out the humor of his struggles at the time.
We are saying everything with love. Because let's be honest, what was very popular and trendy at the time, Eddie kind of did over the top when you think of any stage attire, which and considering the man wore the stuff as much off stage as on, because he didn't understand stage attire, he just saw clothes. So it's on him as much as anybody else. Like when he shows up at your door wearing the Frankie striped overalls, I'm just saying, and
I just want to point this out too, and maybe I'm completely off, but I've had my own issues and known a lot of people that have lost their struggles and are struggling and have beaten their struggles with substance abuse. And I think seeing him in the same clothes all the time was, you know, obviously we see holes in his shoes and stuff. That's maybe related to lack of care from substance use and being that out there, you know, on a bender. But I think a lot of the time when you see him wearing the same clothes, I know for me, when I would get in my own head and I'd be at home just playing guitar and not doing anything, and I would be going to work, coming home, going to work, coming home every day, and just sleeping during the summer, you know, working a lot of hours and then just staying home and practicing. And I remember coming home and literally putting on the same outfit. Now I changed my underwear, but I put on the same outfit for a week. And my mom be like, you got to change your clothes. So I think a lot of that's kind of that hermit thing that people go into. And I'm sure, you know, he was woodshedding all the time, whether it was working on guitars or playing them or recording. So
interesting. We have, you know, the Super Teal himself, RJ Ronquillo in the chat.
You should see if RJ, if you can get him in here.
He says he liked Eddie's work on Van Halen 3, but didn't care for Sharon's vocals. He liked them with Extreme, but not so much with Van Halen.
Yeah, I would agree with that easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I liked him with Extreme.
Yeah, they've been doing on Sirius XM Van Halen channel, so they're playing he had a song, he did a song with LL Cool J. I had no idea.
Wow.
I never heard it before, but
right, like we know Tone Loc ripped him off, but yeah.
But it was, I mean, Eddie was note for note with LL's rap going right down the road. I was just like, I never heard that. Where did they dig that up from? But it was pretty damn good, but it's better than Van Halen 3.
Mm-hmm. The coolest thing I thought was the
Tony says somebody that shows up dressed as Ronald McDonald surely needed some fashion advice. This is what I'm saying. You know, it was okay when he was wearing the black striped dress shirt all the time and stuff. You know, that was kind of the fashion of the time.
I love the pictures of him.
There we go. Yeah, Doug's saying channel 27 on Sirius XM.
Eating the cheeseburgers.
Nice.
There you go. Sandra said Eddie was the GOAT.
Yep.
I have to agree.
Well, he was, you know, I swear he was the complete package in many ways because, you know, everyone knows all this stuff, but as a rhythm player, you know, he was just as good a rhythm player as he was a lead player. And, you know, I found it seemed like every album, I don't know, after Diver Down going forward, he was less flashy. You know, like it wasn't the super over the top. He would do a nice melodic solo. He'd throw in a little tasty bit, just a little taste, just to say, yeah, I still have it. You know, a certain turn around or something that only he could do, a little flutter or something, you know, but, yeah, just, and I always thought that they were just maturing, you know, like when OU812 came out, we had the AOR scene happening, you know, and
I don't know anyone that likes AOR, do you?
AOR, me? No. You know, and all I just remember, you know, is OU812, you know, black and white album cover, black and white video, you know, set in an empty bar. And I'm like, oh, they've entered their Steve Winwood phase.
That's what it reminds me of, yeah.
You know, totally. You know, but that was it. But then, and then, especially with the nod to the past, because I believe Eddie was playing the Frankie in that video. That was like probably, I don't know, maybe the last time we saw the Frankie in the video.
AFU's on OU812, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, so that's what I like about it, because that song to me is like just balls out there. RJ perked up today. AOR.
You hit his trigger word there.
Yeah. But well, in that song, it kind of was in that range. And I think, oh, they're maturing. They're maturing as a band.
Well, for me, it was like hard to separate the music when I was younger from the person, because I mean, for me, he could do no wrong musically for years. I mean, I would have bought, if they put out the same album and changed the cover every year, I would have bought it every year. You know what I mean?
Was everyone burning their Van Halen albums when Jump hit and all we heard was keyboards?
No, of course not.
No. We're like, okay.
Yeah. But I mean, it's weird because, you know, I've gone to see guitar players and I'm like, oh, this person's great. I like their albums. And then I go see them and I'm like, yeah, they played well, but it was all right. And then
I thought they were just progressing into the 80s sound because everybody was hiring a keyboard player. And, again, being here in Canada, after hearing the Diver Down album, and then I heard the 84 album, I went, oh, so they're doing the same thing Rush is doing. Because Rush went keyboard the same time. There was Moving Pictures in 81. And then all of a sudden I remember the Big Money video came out and I'm like, what the hell is this? Geddy's playing a Steinberger bass and almost all keyboards, and Alex is just playing weird chords with lots of chorus, like Eddie. Yeah. Because all I knew was I didn't know about detune and this and that. I just hear chorus. I just hear modulation.
For me, I love though that for me the thing I think is great about 84, as far as if you want to see like a pivot point or a point from which it seems either the end of that era or a point where the band shifts, because I loved all of it. But what I saw was the structure of the album, and it lends credence to how important engineers and producers are, and mixers and everyone that doesn't get a lot of credit, because that album, you have such a wide range. And I know some of the material was a lot older, but to put it in there, I mean, look at like Jump and then look at a track of like House of Pain. It's like polar opposites, but the way they layered the album, it blends so well. And I know for me, the heavier stuff where that hooked me on 84.
Yeah, I think House of Pain was on
too. I'm going to agree with him. Yeah,
I think you're
Secrets
right,
on Diver Down. Great track. Great track. But sorry, Brad, what were you saying there? I interrupted.
No, I was just commenting on Tom. Sorry, didn't mean to step on him either. I was just commenting that House of Pain, I'm pretty sure, was on the Zero demo CD or tracks.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That's an old song, and I heard the other day Sammy was talking about Right Here, Right Now. That song was well before Sammy ever joined the band.
Oh, wow.
That he had that, and they were just in the studio one day, and Eddie just played that on the piano, and he went, whoa, wait a minute, where's that? Where did that come from? But yeah, that was
right. Well, it's like when you watching that MTV video that recently came out, which was awesome. You see all those tapes, and you hear how Right Now was written before Jump was, and I'm like, wait, what?
Right.
Because it's such a mature sounding song, and which I think would have been a bigger hit had they not dropped it as a single, and then Pepsi used it within a month of it dropping as a single.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when we have 20 YouTubers drop the same pedal demo on the same day. A little oversaturation. Hey, David.
Cool, if they could find a way to stagger schedule those, but then again, it's like, well, no one wants to be the last one for their video to come out. Right. So I get that.
Right.
Yeah, it's tough. It reminds me of like if you had 16 car dealers show up in your driveway instead of you going to look at one car dealership. You know? And they're like, but I can save you 87 cents. And you're like, but it's 87 cents on $30,000. So.
Hey, Lenny Lou. Good to see you.
It's got to be
we
tough.
Got 71 people watching. See, I got to do this more even on Monday nights because apparently clarity helps. Usually it's not our usual 35 hardcore guys going, I think he's playing the Kramer this week.
Your setup looks good, though. What's the skateboard?
Oh, well, talking about another addiction in life.
A good one.
This is around a 1987 Powell Peralta Pro deck that I picked up that was very abused. Had no finish left on the bottom. So as a result, I have a tendency to stripe everything. And yeah, it's not striped up like a Frankie or, the 5150 or anything like that. It's just the sheer point that Eddie meant so much to me that I striped everything that if it was a plain surface, it wasn't a plain surface for long. So, yeah. So I figured, I'd grab that. And yes, there it is, RJ. The vintage Powell Peralta skateboard. What we got on that thing? Oh, we have to see what kind of trucks are on this thing. Man, I can't read.
Wheels look old school too.
Hey, Tom.
Tracker trucks. We got Bones
you have back there?
Wheels.
Oh, that's it's not The paint is now, if someone like David Nesdall is watching this, my apologies, because it's not accurate to what him and his like his level of guitars. But
Right.
for me, again, I spent a lot of time, so the paint's pretty accurate. But a couple things are different. I didn't use a Floyd Rose because, you know, I'm not a huge fan of them. I think I have one guitar that has a Floyd on it.
Hey, Crowbar.
Or two, maybe. I think two. But so I used what I had. I basically made it from parts I had sitting around. So this was the body I wasn't going to use because body is, I bought it as an ash body. And if you guys know, swamp ash, southern ash, northern, it's all the same species.
Right.
It just depends where it grew and whether it was, you know, made it dense and heavy. So I would say it's northern ash just because this thing is as heavy as my Nags and my two Les Pauls.
Sure.
Like, it's super heavy. The pickup is the Frankie one. This actually works, but I have to change the pot. I had it on a push-pull. It's not working now. It's got the EVH Born speed knob. This is just a cut-down guard. 71 quarters reel, you know, so it's not 100% accurate. I didn't put the stuff on the back, but this was a project I made with my son. And you probably can't see it, but he signed it there. My son's name's Kai, and you can kind of see it in the cavity.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, and then this is one of these Blade Runner trims. So it actually goes on a metal blade, so it functions almost like a Floyd wood. I'm sorry, but it's not locking. But it has locking tuners on it.
But do you have the 3-in-1 oil?
I just had, you know, sitting in the
just
closet.
needs a 3-in-1 oil.
Yeah. So it stays in tune.
Nice.
So I was thinking about trying the, you know, the locking Godo tremolo that Pete Horn has on his guitar.
Oh, yeah.
I have one of those. I bought directly from Wilkinson. You can go on Reverb. Actually, they're in stock now, and they have been in stock for like almost a year. But if you want one now, they've got 10, at least 10. It says 10 plus, unless they just wrote 10 plus. But they claim they have at least 10 there. And it ships. I think it's Trevor Wilkinson's daughter, Trev's daughter, that runs the business. And she's really good. I got it from England in their small village where they're from to where I live outside of Philadelphia in like a week and a half.
Oh, wow.
And they're not cheap. I think they're like between $200 and $250 US, but it allows you to use locking tuners, not have a locking nut, and lock at the bridge.
Right.
Thanks, RJ, for the compliment on the deck. And I'm just throwing it out there. Apparently, Ty Price has a vintage Lance Mountain deck with independent trucks.
Nice.
And Will Varela asks, are those Derek trucks? Ha, ha, ha.
So you were talking about this the other day. Oops, get that up there. Sorry.
Krellbar, I did paint it myself, yeah.
So, nice. I know that, yeah. The OG Hondos.
So.
Thanks, Tony.
I saw one of those for sale when I was at Sweetwater's Gear Fest in the used tent.
So I picked that up at a pawn shop.
Oh, you gotta. Why not? Of course.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to use this as the donor for, because I had already stripped the pickups out and put just a single coil in there, but it's not routed for a humbucker. I'm going to route this out for a humbucker. I've got several to throw in there. I might even I've got a Gibson pickup that I might stick in there just as a kind of like a nod kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then I got to put the black stripes on it, basically. But I'm going to use that for Philip McKnight's little challenge to build a Super Strat. So
nice. I want to say
challenge
hello to Mel O'Brien, Metalhead Hippie. Earlier in the evening for Metalhead Hippie, and a late night for Mel O'Brien. Nice. Yes, ironically enough, when I saw the Hondo that was in pretty decent shape at Sweetwater, the dealer that was selling it was actually asking as much for it as the dealer was asking for my Kramer.
Oh, better move.
And I didn't pay the asking price for the Kramer. Steve Carmichael.
Steve Carmichael.
Nice. So yeah.
What's up, Paul?
Hey, Paul.
And we can blame Eddie Van Halen for me getting that. And something else I have to throw out here. We get to blame Eddie Van Halen for this YouTube channel. And you'll say, what? But you don't have an Eddie Van Halen YouTube channel. But it was Eddie Van Halen, which was the theme of many a Johnny Bean live stream. And I saw, ooh, an Eddie Van Halen live stream, on the YouTube homepage. I thought, Eddie's the one guy that you could talk about for hours because he's a musician. He owns a company, what have you, his session work, lots of stuff to talk about. So I tuned in, fell in love with Johnny, Dave, and Jay, and as a result, started my YouTube channel. So in a way, Eddie Van Halen.
Cool.
Silverado 1, well, good to see you.
Charles 75N said, I don't need to route it for a humbucker. Can use a Seymour Duncan Pearly Gates in the single coil shape. But I have an ulterior motive for wanting to route that out because I have a telly that I'm going to put a P-rail or P-rails in. So I figured that's a good guitar to use to practice the routing before I get to the good guitar.
Well, and the nice thing is, no matter how bad you screw it up, it can't look worse than Frankenstein.
Exactly, and that's the
a hack job
thought behind it.
Hey, L. Scott Music, good to see you, man.
That's a tough.
All the kids are tuning in
because I did mine from like a standard Strat shape, and that's a tough part to replicate because there's part of it where he didn't go the whole way down to the wood when he cut across in between the natural route between the original 3 single coils. He didn't go deep enough on one of the parts, so you gotta purposely lower your router, raise it back up like a 1/16 of an inch, and then lower it again. So he obviously was adjusting the heights and didn't know what he was doing. But it's just funny to see those little things. And actually, if you look on the close-ups of the real one, in there one little part close to where the cavity is, and you don't see it in a lot of shots because it's right where the openings are after he cut the pickguard down. There's a spot in there where there's a piece of tape that was never removed. Now, I don't know if later if that changed, but the original high-res shots of the Frankie, you can see it. There's a little tiny piece. Some guy online did this crazy nerded out review of it, and he pointed it out. That's the first time I saw it, but it's literally
was
like
his name Rob Johnson?
It might have been. I've never run into anyone that knows more about the actual guitars and the information around them than Rob. I don't know how he knows that much.
Awesome. Caleb is going to get a striped cigar box guitar from Butt Cheeks. That is awesome. As he should have one. I think that'd be badass. And we had a question. Are there any expectations still with having an EVH stripe to actually play, say, Eruption? You know what? I'd say up until now, yes, definitely, especially if you have the Frankenstein, the traditional paint, we'll call it the traditional colors. You're running the home team colors. Yes, but maybe not going forward. It might be someone will just see it simply as a nod to a great musician.
Like playing a Les Paul, right?
Yeah. It's like, exactly. Well, I don't know. I play Strat. Nobody asked me to play. Well, actually, you do get a few people. You do play in the SRV, if you're playing a burst Strat. But
do you remember that one, Brad, when he came out with the Music Mans and he said, I hope in 20 or 30 years, these are looked at like, Les Pauls were, because they respected the man Les Paul so much,
Right.
That was cool. Boner Jams! Go ahead and read that one, Ben. That's all you, man.
I'm waiting. Apparently, my internet is that slow. I'm still waiting. There it is.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Apparently, that's how slow my internet is. Darth Vapor, you look delicious. Bent Tom, I wake up each day and ask myself, why is Bent Tom so goddamn handsome? Great show, gents.
Thanks, Boner Jams. I don't know about being handsome, but thank you very much. Now, the real Boner Jams is a handsome man. Not the guy with the shitty haircut, but the real man. But that picture is glorious.
Gypsy Blues. And yes, Brian from Oregon, the ugliest Les Paul ever. Somebody had asked if the Frankie was used for all of the 84 album. Honestly, no idea. I can't deep dive that well based on certain life choices. I don't have the memory bank to be able to, remember that kind of stuff. But, a lot of those guys, like we know Eddie has a 59 Les Paul. So on the stuff that didn't require a trem, was he playing his 59? It's like, I remember the funny thing reading like Hit Parader and Guitar World and stuff, everybody was endorsed by BC Rich, Kramer, whomever, right? And then you read the album interview and they're like, so, what did you use on? So, I used my 59 all over it. Yeah. Everything, they still were using because everybody owned a 59 in the 80s, it seemed, or had access to one, and they used a 59 over every album. And then you would tour with your endorsed guitar. Yeah. So who knows? Maybe. Yeah.
There's with all the pictures that are now floating around, it surfaced online. There's a picture of Eddie playing the Les Paul, but without the neck pickup in it.
Yeah. Right.
Which I thought was pretty interesting because I'm wondering if that's where that was my comment was, I wonder if that's where he got the pickup for the Strat, was pulled it out of the Les Paul, out of the neck, and said, I'll just put this down here. And
well, apparently, yeah, the infamous PAF and the Frankie was out of a 335.
Okay.
That apparently was out of a 335. But yeah, I think I had read he had removed the neck pickup because the whole magnetic energy thing, he didn't care for it. Or who knows?
There's a guy that was on one of the Kramer network forums from like early internet years ago, but he still has a website up, and he goes into all that, and he lists, I think, up until maybe even 5150, or I know at least through 84. And they said that there was a question if it was a 58 or 59, but it's the one he took the pickup out of the neck, whether it's a 58 or 59, it's a burst. And it's got that real almost flat yellow look when you see it from like a distance, but apparently looks beautiful up close. I haven't seen a lot of up close pictures of it, but he, from his knowledge, and this guy goes pretty deep, seemed to say that a lot of the rhythm tracks on all those, first 5 or 6 albums were done, He said, I don't know if the ones on the album are that, but he at least sat there and played them on that guitar. That was kind of like his couch guitar in the studio for rhythm stuff, the guy was saying. So who knows? I don't know.
We noticed one thing I'd love to see is we heard that Matt and Wolfgang, they're going to take over EVH, which I would think, encompasses 5150 Studios, all this. And, and I touched on it last night, as long as they don't bring out the Wolfgang bass for a year or two, go, have at it, continue with the reissue every year or two, because we know most of those original guitars are still at the studio, so they can look at for verification. But I noticed, like in the MTV video, you see all those striped bodies just when they're going up the stairs, just the bodies hanging on the wall. What are those?
Did you pause and rewatch? How many times?
A few. Or the racks of hardshell cases behind Eddie in the one shot. Like there had to be 30 hardshell cases. Like there were 10 long, 3 wide. What the hell are in all those cases? Because Eddie's stuff is usually always in the boats and stuff, or just hanging on the wall. So I was like, what the hell is all that stuff? So what I'm hoping is, as Wolfgang decides to spring clean 5150 just to document everything, we know he's on social media. Please, opening up a case, be like Norm's Rare Guitars. Hey, look, did you know Dad had this? Fuck no.
Yeah.
Did you know he had a EDS 1275 double neck? No. Well, it turns out Jimmy Page gave it to him, in 7 year, like, of course he did.
Yeah. Probably.
But nobody said anything because they're rock stars and they're cool that way. And they just give each other guitars.
Or, I mean, like, I can imagine something like, prototype Ernie Ball guitar, but like completely different. Like it's a super Strat with like a stripe paint job and basically like tried to copy the Frankie and put Ernie Ball on the logo.
Or like we heard of the various, every company sent him a prototype when they knew he was a free agent, to use a sports term. Like PRS sent him some guitars. Let's see them. Stuff like that. And the nice thing is, even your basic camera phone is a great great camera. So we're gonna see some. I think we're gonna see some cool stuff too.
Once he's able, because I'm sure it'll be tough for him to deal with that kind of stuff, and maybe he won't want to be around it right away. But I can see in the future him like just putting up on Instagram, sitting here on the couch with Dad's old V, or like You know, Dad's
Yeah.
59 Les Paul. You know, still has the neck pickup out, or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then 2 weeks later, hey, found the neck pickup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen
And it's
Yeah.
just shoved in a drawer.
not only play guitar, but have you seen Wolfie play drums?
No.
No.
You
I've seen
gotta-
him play piano.
Someone mentioned it, and I want to give credit to the right person, but I don't remember who said it. It was on Johnny Bean's show on Saturday night. I want to say Caleb said this, but it could have been John Biel. It could have been any of those guys. So I don't want to give the wrong person credit. But basically, I looked it up after they mentioned it. It's Mark Tremonti with his Alter Bridge gig, and they had
Okay.
Wolfgang play bass with them one night or one video. It may have been the same night, and then he's playing drums with him. And this was from a bunch of years ago, so he was still, gosh, he had to be like a teenager, and he just tore it. I thought he was better on the drums than he was on bass, from what I've heard so far. I mean, the kid is,
as much as
30 now, but
as much as I slagged that kid for nepotism when he first hit the scene at what,
I was the
15,
same way.
16,
Yeah, me too.
when we first heard about it before he actually got on the road, and
Right.
having a racing background, I'm going to compare it to, again, the king in auto racing, Richard Petty. His son Kyle, his first race was at a major race at Daytona Speedway, which is one of the biggest tracks on the circuit. Like, he went right in deep end as well, right off the bat as a teenager. So I kind of saw the same thing. So it was a bit of nepotism, but now that we hear that Wolfgang more or less was the leader of the band since he's been in the band, because he's making the set list. He's decided, all those unreleased tracks that came out on the last album, that was all Wolfgang's selection. So he really took the helm, and I think we probably wouldn't have seen the last tour or two otherwise.
Okay,
So deserve my respect.
Tony has inside info that I didn't know or that I should have known, but he was saying Ed stopped using the Frankie after the American leg of the Diver Down tour. He used the Kramer ad guitar, which I remember that now that I think about it, in the South American leg. And then he used the Frankie at the Ozfest, but it was he put on the other neck. And someone was talking about that a couple months ago. Apparently he had two or at least one other neck, and he was swapping necks 30 minutes before the play backstage.
Right.
Hey, Steve Anderson.
And
Because all that footage, that few minutes of footage we've seen backstage and all the photos backstage of the US Festival, that ain't the neck that you see on stage at the US Festival.
Watch the actual performance today. It's just
who does that?
Yeah.
Again, the quote Steve from Boston, who does that? Who swaps a neck out on their guitar before going out to play at that time the biggest show of their career?
Right.
I think he just was so by the seat of his pants. I mean, I can just almost imagine it in my head, like that little impish grin and just going, it's just a neck, man. I'm just going to play guitar.
Yeah.
I
swear that, and that's the vibe I try to do on these hangouts, the Sunday night hang, just that, who cares? Let's just have fun.
It was always genuine from him. It was just like, man, I just want to always think like, man, I just want to play guitar. Like at the Smithsonian, the look on his face was like a 5-year-old kid when he goes, man, I want to jam with my dad again. Like he lit up.
Yeah.
I want to jam with my dad again. Like that made me cry when I watched that.
Right.
Yeah. And and another thing to touch on with Wolfgang, how classy it is. We know he's had that album done for a year and a half.
Yeah.
Right.
He's been sitting on that, because the rumors were spring of last year, that he was going to release the album. That's when we heard the rumor about a Van Halen tour. Wolfie was going to open for Van Halen, which I'm like, good on you. If you want to do 2 sets a night, feel free. But then the rumor, Mike might come out and play part of the Van Halen set, which then you think, oh, well, then obviously Wolfgang will put a band together to open because he can do both. But he just went, nope.
Boner Jams was saying that, and I didn't know this, so pardon my ignorance, but he was saying that Wolfgang is in Tremonti's solo band, so they probably even could have just had, Tremonti's solo band as the opening band.
Okay. Yeah. Nice.
But he was killing it on drums. You got to check out those YouTube videos, man. I mean, his bass playing was fine. He was no slouch, but the drums really, he was. Yeah,
and Ray says, I can't believe how many dumb comments about his album not being released. Hey, I'll be honest, I posted a dumb comment or two in social media over the last couple of years, say, like, when's the album coming out, Wolfie? When's the album coming out? Hasn't it been done? You drop a teaser or something like, we know it's been in the can for ages, and now I just feel sick about it because he's like, my dad is fighting for his life. Screw off, people. Oh, I'm teasing what I can.
Crowbar said Creed Halen.
Nice. Yeah, so who knows when that album comes out? I think it will be embraced quite a bit. I think people are going to enjoy it, and yeah.
So I was going to make a comment because this has been kind of one of the things I've been thinking about the past couple of days. In all reality, Van Halen was a 3-piece band with a singer.
Yeah.
For the most part. Now,
oh,
so realistically, those first up to 1984, right? Those first 5, that was a 3-piece band.
Right.
And they recreated almost all that live.
Mm-hmm.
Because I saw them once in that time was around Women and Children First. I think that may have been the time I saw them. And then the next time I saw him was Sammy at World Series of Rock. And it was like, okay, how did they get that sound live? Well, half of that was honestly Michael Anthony was probably one of the best bottom end guys ever, and Alex's drums were realistically he was the whole rhythm section of the band. So
it's weird. Like the only time we've really seen it, otherwise I would say was the two brothers in Pantera, where there's that syncopation between guitar player and drummer.
Right.
You hope for your bass player and drummer to be best friends because that's a tight rhythm section.
Yes.
But the way they played off each other, it seems like it only happens when brothers are growing up because both drummers had a unique drum. There's some drum patterns you don't hear elsewhere. And part of that I think is Alex was one of the last that had the huge kit. And I think a huge kit lends to a unique playing style because you add the extra tom or the cymbal that nobody else has, or whatever. Say, screw it, I'm running Simmons drums. I don't care.
Krellbar made a point there, said for the most part, Van Hager was a 3-piece because Sammy only played guitar, but it wasn't an integral part of the sound. But it was live.
Right.
Yeah. But and that is one thing. I wish they did use Sammy a little more on guitar. For whatever, but I think that's just coming from a guy who basically played mostly rhythm live. That I always hate that dropout to just bass and drums during a solo, even if you are Eddie Van Halen. You got an extra tool, use it.
Well, and a lot of that, a lot of Live Without a Net. Sammy, he did play guitar on a lot of that.
Great on Live Without a Net. He kills it on that.
Oh yeah.
I remember seeing that, first seeing that and just being shocked. I didn't know Sammy played guitar that well because I had never seen it. Like on the album, it was, you're hearing Eddie and I'm like, wow, he, considering he's playing with Eddie in the same song, he doesn't sound bad. I mean, I think Eddie's going to overshadow almost anyone in a song, but he held his own though live.
Wasn't there one, actually, they didn't actually do a video during the 5150 album, did they? There was no music videos for that album. They toured, they toured a new lineup with a new singer without a video.
They did Dreams, because Dreams is off that album, and that did have a music video, but that was mostly Blue Angel stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
But.
And I think, that would have been well after they were well into their tour and stuff by the time that would have. Because I was thinking, did they even drop an initial single for 5150? I'm trying to think, because I remember when the album dropped, it was the album. This is Van Halen.
Right. Oh, Crowbar says Love Walks In. Dream was the video. Yeah, I thought Dreams was the video.
Okay.
Yeah. And
where were you before, Crowbar? You got all the answers.
Tony said he has a beef. Why did Van Halen ignore half of their catalog since 2007?
Because at any given time, Van Halen's singer can only sing half the catalog. Sammy can't sing Dave, and Dave can't sing Sammy.
Yeah, I think Dave definitely cannot sing Sammy parts.
Dave can't sing Dave.
Yeah.
You know, like
Buddha,
yeah, he's a great scat rapper these days, and he still puts on a hell of a show.
Yeah.
But, you know, Dave can barely sing Dave. You know, God love him.
Oh, I love Dave. He's just 80% charisma, you know?
Why can't this be love? Thank you. Yeah, that makes sense. Right.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing they ever used ISO tracks for live was keyboards when they only had, you know, Eddie playing guitar because it was not possible.
Well, and that was more the thing at the time, and especially with the amount of overlap, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I was thinking too, somebody mentioned, you know, Eddie being a big fan of Cream. Somebody recently put together a compilation of all of Eddie's appearances on David Letterman over the years.
Oh, wow.
You know, when he sat in with the band. And, you know, it's interesting because half the time the songs going to and from commercial break are a Van Halen song or something Clapton based. You know?
Yeah.
And I watched it just because Eddie is one of those guys. I wonder, I'm like, can he jam with others and just not be Eddie?
Mm-hmm.
And there, at one point, you get to hear him playing Crossroads, and he plays it exactly how you would think Eddie would play Crossroads. And I'm sure Crossroads was in their set, same as Sunshine of Your Love. I'm sure those were in early Van Halen set lists, you know, when they were the number one house party band.
Yeah.
And to hear him play it, and I was like, okay, you know, he's grinning away. And I was just like, okay. And it was great to hear him play somebody else's music in that way, beyond just the handful of covers that we know from the early albums, which they should have continued that tradition of doing cover tunes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I watched some of that. That's really cool. I like it's the one where I think it was it. I'm trying to think it was a Saturday Night Live. No, it was when Valerie hosted Saturday Night Live, I think. Is that the one where she introduces him and it's with G. Smith?
Right.
At the
that was
very
Saturday Night Live.
And it's funny because you can tell like they probably like went over the stuff, but then Eddie probably was just like, I'll just improvise whatever. Because at the very beginning you can see and he hits one note and you can see it's like he's filling the register up and it's like, okay, yeah, now I know what I want to do. Let's go. You know, it's so cool to see that and just to, you know, watch kind of the way that his mannerisms change. And then when he's locked on, I mean, it's just the smile comes up and he's just like in ecstasy playing the guitar, you know?
Nice. Yeah.
Like his happy place.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, and unfortunately, I wish he had done a little more session work or been able to, you know, back in the day, because, you know, he was kind of skirting in that, you know, we know, he is friends with Luke, and Luke was obviously right into that whole situation.
Yeah.
It would have been cool to see a few more sessions, you know, because
even like
hey,
the
Johnny Bean
kinds of music, you know, I know he did the one Nicolette Larson album. But you know, different stuff like that would be interesting to see because it seems like he put his mark or his kind of signature on everything he did do. So it'd be interesting to, you know, to see something like that.
Right.
Yeah. And for the guy who lays down the solo to beat it, lays it down uncredited, no less, and it turns out, you know, to be the biggest single probably ever at that time.
Keeps 1984 from going to #1.
Yeah. Yeah, because that album was basically #1 for 2 years, right?
He kicked a goal on his own team.
Yeah, well, the company, they knew how to tease that, because I think, you know, it seemed like it was a year between Billie Jean and Beat It as 2 singles off the Thriller album. And I think Thriller might have been, was Thriller in between the two, or it was the 3rd single off the album? Well, that's a good question.
Yeah, I don't have that answer.
I know that was the first vinyl album I ever got, was Michael Jackson's Thriller. Little did I know I was also getting Eddie Van Halen as part of my first album ever. I just remember, I'm like, wow, that's a really cool guitar solo. And that was a really cool time because, you know, it was kind of funny because around that time was David Bowie's Let's Dance, and we got Stevie Ray Vaughan sitting in on that. Right. And you're just like, man, I like, again, you know, being a kid, 8, 9 years old, going, I want to play guitar. You mean not only do you get to have your own band, you get to sit in with other bands and do, you know, guitar solos, and ooh, okay, you know.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, thanks, Johnny. Yeah, Thriller was huge for over 2 years. Yeah, I thought so.
when someone told me that when I was pretty young, and I said, "Oh, that makes sense." Like that sounds like Eddie Van Halen, you know?
Right. It doesn't sound like the rest of the song. Although Luke doesn't sound very Luke-like on Beat It, to be honest. So,
Mhm. What's up, Johnny?
Yeah,
Can you
Unbelievable was
imagine if
talking about Sammy's album because Eddie played bass on that and did most of the production work on that album during
right?
that time. So
Well, and I
yeah,
was just thinking, like, let's say they decided to fold Van Halen after Roth left. Does Eddie go into session work and more music soundtracks? Could you imagine how kick-ass movies would have been with Eddie doing musical scores?
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Totally. Sure. Yeah, totally badass. Just stuff like that, and obviously thank God that they did continue on. And they weren't afraid to look around. Like I remember, after Sammy left the first time, they were looking at, female singers, right?
Right. Yeah.
It was like, we don't care. I was like, yeah,
And then,
well, the songs are going to sound great because all those high notes, with a female singer, you could cover all the old catalog.
mm-hmm. And then I guess they talked to Mitch Malloy pretty seriously, I guess, for a while.
Mitch Malloy. Yep. And Patty Smythe from Scandal.
Yep. Most of the two
And
I heard.
I still remember the rumor here in Canada. Canadian viewers will know Sass Jordan. There was rumor that Sass Jordan was for at least a couple of weeks there.
Oh,
And
wow.
she, for those who don't know, she has a kind of rocker, raspy, a little bit of Melissa Etheridge going in there. Like you think Melissa Etheridge. As much as you think of her folky stuff, but she's got that voice. She could do Van Halen.
Oh, yeah. And think about this. What if there's demo tapes of them practicing and trying out these different singers? Now, I don't know if it would be something the family would feel comfortable ever releasing, but it would be really cool to hear. I mean, if it exists.
Well, and you just do it simply as, like just call it the sessions, 5150 sessions or something like that, and you could do a volume 1, volume 2, and that could be even other artists coming in, of course, with their okay, like, Skid Row lays down a track at 5150, and they're like, yeah, go ahead, put it out as part of the compilation. Awesome. Really Johnny was saying Desmond Child got Mitch Malloy that gig with Van Halen.
Oh, wow.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
So I have a you were talking about Tom, you were talking about Sammy before, never hearing much of his music, but I followed him before Van Halen. So I saw him, actually met him.
Like when he was at Montrose, or?
Yeah, when he was with Montrose.
Yeah.
Wow. So they were playing a free concert in Cleveland. They used to do this summer concert series on the lake.
Mm-hmm.
And Montrose was opening for, I'm not sure who they were opening for. There was a bunch of bands, but Michael Stanley, which was the local Midwest big Cleveland rocker, he was the headline of the show. So Montrose was backing them up. But I was standing close to the stage, and this young punk was hanging out, and I started talking to him, and he goes, "Oh, I gotta go." He runs up on stage, and I'm like, "Oh crap!" Because we had been listening to the Space Station number 5 for I don't know how long that had been out. I think that was 74 that came out. So we've been listening to that, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" I'm standing there for 5 minutes talking to Sammy Hagar. Had no idea who it was. And it's like, right, cool dude, but
yes, Metal Mike 5150. I was going to bring that up. That Pete Thorne dropped that info yesterday that he got to record at least the rough track for a song they were jamming with at 5150, possibly for Chris Cornell, but Chris never actually sang on it. But Pete was saying he got to play acoustic guitar while he was in the same room as Eddie Van Halen playing guitar on the same song at the same time. And I'm just like,
that was
does
way
it
cool.
get any better? I don't know. I probably have Eddie's grin on my face.
So,
Wow, Johnny's
we'll
met
say
Sammy many times
Edgar
over the
Winter,
years.
Rick
He's local,
Derringer.
very funny dude. He
You'd
comes
have Johnny
across that
come
way.
You'd have Johnny come on now and tell us one of those stories then. Johnny, when he's not on his own channel, is let loose Johnny. Like he actually talks.
Hey,
He
Johnny, do you
talks.
want to jump in?
I was amazed. I watched him on the show like last week. I was watching him on the show, and I guess because he doesn't have to run the show and he doesn't have to do everything or whatever. And it's really cool to hear because Johnny's got a lot of really good stuff to say. But then again, none of the people on his show will let him get a word in edgewise anyway. So
That's true. That's true. It can get a bit of a wild time at times. That's for sure.
I love Johnny too. Sandra put up hashtag we love Johnny Bean. He's a great guy.
That's true. Very true. Yeah, because this channel wouldn't exist without stumbling into his live chat one night and having an awesome time. So, Tom, I know you have seen Van Halen live to the point of going broke seeing Van Halen live. Did you not during a tour?
Yeah, I saw him twice in like a week and a half, and then I wanted to go a third time, but I ran out of money. I saw him at a Meriwether Post Pavilion in Maryland, and then I found out they were playing the next week in Atlanta, Georgia, and my cousins live in Atlanta, so I flew down to Atlanta and saw him at the Coca-Cola Center and stayed at my cousin's, and then when I got home, I found out they're going to be playing again. Because when you're in the Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, Maryland area, you can usually hit a bunch of shows on a tour, and I just ran out of money. And at this point, I'm like, I want to go back in time to teenage me and say, here, go to all the shows. Like,
and Johnny, it's sent through Facebook. Nice. Yes. So, Brad, you've seen the mighty Van Halen, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've seen them three times.
oh wow.
3. So I saw them early on. Like I said, it was around women and children first. So with David, and next time I saw them was the World Series of Rock. That was here in Tampa at the old Tampa Stadium, and they were the headliner. Metallica, Scorpions. Who else was on that show?
Is that Kingdom Come as well?
Yeah, maybe. It was at least 6. It was all day. I mean, Van Halen didn't hit the stage till it got dark. So, they started at 9 and played till 12, I think. And that was that was with Sammy. And then I saw them again in the 90s, late 90s, at what's now Amalie Arena, so where the Lightning play. And that was back with Dave back in the band again. So nice. I've got to see the good Dave, the good Sammy, and the okay Dave made it to the show. Dave. Dokken. Yes, thank you, Meadow. Yeah. Matter of fact, that was my first exposure to Dokken too. I was like, whoa. And I really wasn't into Metallica at the time, but man, they were good. But Dokken, that was a good show.
Yeah.
I never got into Dokken myself. My cousin was a huge Dokken fan. I was just like, I don't know, he kind of reminds me of Eddie, but I don't know.
I got into some solo George Lynch, but I never got into Dokken myself.
Yes, thank you, Zach. Sorry, I did need to correct that. The Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning.
Two-time,
isn't
it?
Yes.
I seem to remember one of the world's slowest skaters known in NHL history, Dave Vanderchuk, hoisting the cup.
Yes.
He was slow as molasses when he played for the Leafs. Then he had that whole stint afterwards.
Ben, what was the show where they painted the EVH painted the guitar. Was it in Toronto, or it was somewhere? It was a Canadian show. They did the red and white with the maple leaf on it.
Oh, good
Do
question.
you remember that one?
I don't remember.
I want to see if Johnny comes in here, he'll know right away. I know he will. Let me see if I can. I don't remember, but it was really cool. Like they painted.
Oops.
Apparently, my cousin Doug lost the chat somehow. Refresh, Doug. Refresh. Let's see. Any newer bands inspired of Van Halen that you guys have heard? Pretty much every band that broke within 5 to 10 years after Van Halen. I think they're all inspired by Eddie. Hard to say nowadays.
I want to say it was probably a Maple Leaf Garden show. That would be my guess. But it was
and you'd remember if it was red and white, had a marijuana leaf on it. Sorry,
Maybe
what time frame, Tom?
This was later. This was like, it was either one of the Music Mans or one of the
okay, yeah, so that would have been at the Sky Dome, then known as the Rogers Center, now known as the Sky Dome again, I think. The retractable roof where the Jays and used to be the Toronto Argonauts played there as well.
I think it was that era. I think it was a Music Man, but
they would have been playing there because that place holds about 50,000.
Oh wow! I mean, it could have been one of the newer Wolfgangs, but I'm not positive. But I know it was,
Yeah, I can't see them playing Maple Leaf Gardens because Maple Leaf Gardens only held 16,000 for hockey. So,
okay.
You figure even roughly the same, because you're going to cut off the end, but then you got the floor. So,
right,
man, that was a loud venue for concerts. Old wooden, wooden Raptor NHL arena. Oh yeah,
that's it. So it was a Music Man. There you go. I thought
I was thinking maybe that was done in Montreal. Because also, remember, Montreal always, for whatever, and it's not just Van Halen, but you look up a lot of bands, especially 80s stuff, there's a lot of live footage from Montreal.
Hey, that's on Johnny Bean's channel, by the way, on his Twitter.
Nice. Doug says he's only seen one show at Maple Leaf Gardens. I know I've seen one, maybe two. There's Johnny Bean. Oh, Johnny Bean's avatar.
Hey.
Good to see you, man.
Am I here? Hey.
What's up,
weird.
man?
It's so weird being on this side of it. I'm never on this side.
Yeah, you're always up here in this corner.
Yeah. Well, you can change these around, right?
How do you do that?
Just drag them.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
So, Johnny, you can correct us. The Maple Leaf Music Man EVH guitar, what show was that at?
That was it was in Canada. I don't know, Eddie.
Was it like the Carnival Knowledge tour? Or was it after that?
Oh no, it was Right Here, Right Now.
Right Here, Right Now tour. Okay.
I think.
Hey, we got Aljon Go joining us. Good to see you, Aljon. And true, rest in peace, EVH, the GOAT, definitely. Michael Cross is saying 18,000 for concerts. Yes, it was the Gardens. Really? I would have thought Skydome.
Huh.
I remember Van Halen tickets were never cheap when they came to the city. That's for sure. That was a top-notch ticket and they sold fast, and they knew they were going to sell fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like
there's video of Eddie playing that guitar.
Oh, wow.
The Maple Leaf guitar you're talking about. But it's really shaky. It's like it's almost unwatchable how shaky it is. But
because it's probably someone like me going, "Oh my God, he's got a Maple Leaf guitar! Oh my God!"
Yeah, there's actually pro shot footage of some of the show. They did an interview on Much Music. So there is some pro shot footage, but not of him playing that guitar. He played that guitar at the end of the show.
Okay.
You know.
Nice.
So Johnny, I gotta ask you first, is Ned okay today? Is he home?
Yes. He's right.
Oh.
You can almost see him.
He's in that backpack.
He's sleeping right above the backpack. Like
wow.
right above it. Right above it.
Oh.
There he is.
There you go.
I have never seen more genuine relief on your face when you were like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Like,
man,
I could feel what you were going through. Like, that was intense.
I felt so sick. I couldn't eat that day. What happened was my cat goes out at 8 o'clock at night whenever the sun goes down.
Right.
And then he comes back in, he hangs out and stuff, but he always comes home at like 5:30, 6 in the morning. And what day was that? That was Friday.
Yeah.
Right? Friday. Yeah. He didn't come back that whole day until midnight that night.
Oh wow.
And I'm sitting here. I was in a show with I don't even know. Fender Guru.
Yeah.
Fender Guru and Zipkin. Zipkin was in there.
Yeah.
I can't even.
Steve
I think Caleb.
Anderson?
Yeah, it was late because it was like 3 in the morning on the East Coast.
Yeah. So it was like midnight or something.
Yeah.
And Jay Hannon was watching, and yeah, he said he saw Ned walk by. Oh, there you are. Hey. He said he saw him walk by, which I didn't see, but I felt him rub against my leg because that's what he does, and I was so relieved. I couldn't believe it because I felt sick, and I hate to say it, but the reason why I was in that show was to get my mind off feeling sick. Just talking to people and stuff.
Sure. I get it.
So is he still an outdoor cat is the question.
Yeah.
Okay.
He is. He has to be. Cats need to be outdoors.
Yep.
Because that's what they do. They hunt. You can't keep a cat inside. It depends on where you live, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, my neighbor's cat's outdoors. It'll come into my front door and I'm like, hey, what's up? High five. And then it'll go back and like go wherever. We have it's wooded behind us. So it's like they just go chill wherever they want, get a couple mice and then come home.
Yeah. That's how it is here. Yeah.
I think it's
Our
good
cat
for them. It gets
lot.
everything so they can just chill when they get home then,
Yeah. Our cat used to go out a lot until we moved to this place. And now the cat will go out in the backyard only because we've got the highway 50 yards from the front yard. So the cat just sees all the drivers. Nope, that's too much noise, too much traffic. I'll just hang out in the backyard because there's a cornfield out back. So yeah, it leaves treats from time to time. Always fun. Look what I got.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's it's a female cat then, right?
See you, Alzon.
My neighbor.
Thanks for stopping by, buddy.
My neighbors?
Oh, the ones that left the treats.
Oh, that's Ben. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's usually on
that's
the
what they
patio
do.
to the back right door.
Yeah. The reason they leave those is because they're leaving them for you. That's like a motherly instinct that they have.
Exactly.
I had a dog that used to do that. He could pick birds out of the air. It was a little miniature pincher, but if they were just taken off on the ground, he'd reach out and then he'd bring them and leave them on my doorstep. Thank you. Come on inside. Yeah.
Hello to Jamal as well, joining in. Good to see you, Jamal.
But they say you should actually not scold them. You should actually say, "Oh, good job," and then just not make a big deal because they are doing what they're supposed to do as an animal.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, animals don't know any better. They just know what their instincts are.
Yeah.
Ned actually brought in a bat.
Oh wow!
Oh, wow.
We had a bat in the garage that I didn't know what it was for a few days, and then we looked at it, and it's like, that's a bat.
Yeah.
So we had to quarantine Ned for like a month inside.
Yeah, I've been bitten by a bat, but I had to kill it, and then I took it to this. I had to shoot it with a BB gun. Actually, it was in my house because
Did you bite its head off?
Because I was bitten. No.
Were you on stage?
No, not that night. But no, and then you have to freeze it, and then you take it to your local CDC or whatever disease control center. And the woman saw I was there, by myself with my 2 young kids, and she goes, "You're gonna have to get all these rejection drugs and all this stuff." And she goes, "Wait." It was like Friday afternoon. She goes, I'm going to save you a whole heap of mess. That's what she said. She said, wait right here, 30 minutes. She goes, put down what you're doing. She told the biologist in the other room or whatever. They have chemists, biologists and everything. Stop what you're doing. Run this one quick for me. So they did the culture, put it in. Like 40 minutes later, she goes, you're good. You don't have to get any drugs or anything. Because I would have apparently had to get this treatment, you know, anti-rabies stuff, and it's horrific.
You would have had like 16 shots in the stomach or something.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Something
I also have
terrible
autoimmune disorders. So yeah, it would have been really bad on me. So
Oof. Hey, we got Rob from Tesi Switch joining us. Good to see you. Use code 15%.
Yeah.
That's right, Johnny. You can use it on your channel. You can use Bean 15 on Johnny's channel, but use Canucks on this one.
Johnny Bean 15.
Johnny Bean 15. See, I almost got it right. Almost. I tried. I guess
Johnny
Bean 15, you only save 7.5%. So
There it is.
Johnny,
And,
is
Right
anyone,
there, man.
I see Cushman NYC joined in.
is anyone going to write out the full script from that Van Halen, the MTV one, where the kid goes, yeah, because I mean, we're seniors, man, and you know, like, it means a lot to us, you know? Is John Biel going to write that out?
He already did.
Oh, he wrote out the whole thing.
He wrote out that entire show.
Oh man. He should, I guess he can't legally sell those. I'm gonna say I would throw him a couple bucks to get a copy of that.
Yeah. Well, you can probably print it. I mean, you can probably print it. You know, put it in the Discord. You know.
Oh man, that's
just a natural reflex now. Is doing I've been doing that for so long.
I was watching it today, and I just got to that part like right after Sammy finishes, and he goes, "Yeah, because like it talks about like dreams and stuff, and like you know we're starting to think about the stuff. You know, like we're seniors now. It's so good."
Yeah, for those who don't know what Ben's talking about, that's it was a Van Halen MTV special called Unleashed when Sammy first joined, and it was celebrating the 5150 record, the 5150 tour, and all of us nerds grew up watching that every day after school, along with Live Without a Net, the Van Halen home video. So we all know like every word to this show, and it's become a running joke on our Saturday Night Live programs on Saturday nights, where we're gonna each pick a part and do the entire. Actually, Ben, did you see the shirts?
No. Oh yes. Oh man.
Look at this. I was gonna wear it tomorrow. Look at this.
Oh,
all right.
I want one of those. Oh, you got to see these shirts. I want one of these. Ben, this is gonna have to be your next shirt.
What's up, Laz?
Look at this. This is crazy.
Check this out, dude.
Oh, wow.
Cobra Kai Platoon drew those.
That is awesome.
So shout out to Cobra Kai Platoon as well.
Yes.
Excellent artist. You can tell who everyone is. I mean, they're really good drawings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're from actual pictures.
Oh, okay.
Like that picture of me, that's an actual selfie I took at some point.
Oh,
I remember.
wow.
I've seen it. Yeah.
What's the style called though? There's like almost like the way they have like Scooby Doo. It's that stylistic cartoon.
It reminds me of King of the Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
What
awesome,
it is, it's like the 70s. It's like those early 70s cartoons.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
all the Hanna-Barbera stuff.
Jay's in here. Where is he? There you are.
Yeah, Lenny
And
Lou
I can
was
tell that's
telling
the
me,
captain right away too.
Yeah, Lenny Lou was telling me the other day. She said, "Look at Jay's eyes in that picture; they're so pinned." And then I said, "That's because it's Saturday Night Live."
That's Jay watching the chat.
Yeah. So thank you. I mean, Cobra Kai and Michael Smith. Michael Smith is the one that had these made up.
Oh man, he's so generous.
So
He's the man.
He is the captain. He's such a sweetheart. He's just a beautiful person.
I still have my EVH striped vacuum tube nightlight here in the studio from the captain.
Oh wow, that's so cool.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's the always on light in here. So it's that and the pedal board that keeps the room lit at all times.
That's very cool.
That's right. Yes, only on Saturday night. Available for your
Yeah.
viewing pleasure on the Johnny Bean YouTube channel at midnight Eastern and 9 p.m. Pacific, Saturday nights.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Really, Crowbar? Did you have to go there?
I guess
You
they
can order
could.
it, but it won't come in that color.
It won't quite be pink.
That'd be kind of a weird color.
It'll be it'll come out looking like this or something.
Yeah. I was going to say the only shirt, maybe after a bunch of washes, this one will turn pink, and then I can have a pink Boner Jams shirt.
Well, everyone says that I got the color on this guitar weird. Tell me if you think this color looks weird, and tell me what color you think it's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be Fiesta Red, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. And how does it look on camera? Everyone says it looks like Dakota Red.
No. There's a touch more orange.
I mean, it looks almost pink in person, but the picture I took it off was the original Hank Marvin picture. And his looked almost pink. But on camera, it looks red. And, I read that they did that on purpose because on video, on television, on film at the time, the color would change drastically, kind of like Gibson did with the TV yellow. So on purpose, they said they ordered it that color, and that the real one in person looked way more pink.
Huh.
But yeah, if you see this in person, it looks almost pink. And I painted it myself, and when I'm painting it, I'm like, this doesn't look right. But I color matched it, and
yes, on camera, Charles 75. Yeah, Torino Red. I would say, very Starsky and Hutch.
Yes, yeah, and in
on
person,
camera.
it doesn't look like that at all. It's very vibrant in person. It's weird.
Nice.
Wow,
Very nice.
that's cool.
That was the one I just finished restoring. It's a 1969 Strat. So I'm still looking for 2 original pickups. The only thing that's not original.
But you have the neck pickup.
Yeah, but they want like $750 per pickup, and I'm just $1,500 for 2 pickups. I don't buy into that. I'm sorry.
Sure.
I'm not.
Hey, Jay, have a great night.
So I don't know.
Good
It's a tool,
LA,
right?
Hey, Sean Zimmerman.
Good night, Jay.
Yes, what was the undercoat color?
Oh, that guitar?
Yeah.
White. Just like literally pigment white.
As it should be.
The original, whatever. I got the German colors. Blanco, I think it's called. Yeah.
So Tom, there's a guy that's in your area. He's on Instagram, JW Restorations.
Okay.
He could probably make you a very authentic 63 pickup because he does some custom stuff anyway. And it'd be a whole lot less than what somebody wants to charge you for a real one, and you'd probably get a better tone out of it.
Yeah, I'm not that picky. I have the neck pickups original, which is most important to me in a Strat. But the middle and bridge, I took some out of another guitar. They're Lindy Fralin Vintage Hots, which are right in the same 5.6K, I think they are.
I was going to say, if you want to go with a 63 Strat vibe, you may want to check out the Reno Fin Boa Constrictor set that I designed.
There you go.
If it was any other year, Brad, I wouldn't throw you under the bus.
Hey, that's all right.
But yeah, so I mean, it's fine for now. I'm
like 63, you say, eh?
I'm not that picky. Do I name my guitars Deja Voodoo set? Some of them.
And welcome Deja Voodoo.
Only ones that my kids have named. Or if the manufacturer names them, like LSL Guitars actually names them. They don't use serial numbers. So I have Esmeralda.
Nice.
And then they hand sign them in there.
And I'm guessing that guitar was mint when you bought it.
Pretty close. It did have, I'll tell you what, when I bought it, it had a little checking right here.
Don't even notice it.
Yeah, but look how thin it is. I mean, look at you can see the spider cracks. See them?
Wow.
So the paint is so thin, and my sweat is very acidic.
See ya, Thunder Falcon.
So, anyway. But I don't normally name them other than that. My kids, I have a Les Paul that's a, you know, the guy that has a YouTube channel. It's called Big D Guitars.
Yep.
They built it. It's a replica of like a 59 burst, except it has a quilt top. And I bought it. It was like dark green on top. So I took it down to the bare wood and then sealed it and restained it and did it myself. And it's like a faded, like an unburst almost. But my son named that Sunny because it's almost a yellowish unburst. I just did a burst and then I took almost all the red out.
Don't tell JJ you refinished a green guitar a different color.
It was so dark green though you couldn't see the maple.
Yeah, but you know him and green guitars.
Yeah, I know. So. I just experiment on them. I don't like I think of them just like as, you know, like adult toys, aka tools, if you want it to sound, you know, like someone said, why did you take your Sir guitar and repaint it? I'm like, why the hell not? Well, it's going to lower the value. I'm like, I'm not selling it. I'm not selling it to anyone, so who cares? Like,
not to mention after you play it, the finish is done anyways.
Yeah. Well, those are poly finishes though, so it probably would have been fine. So
still. You be you, Tom. You be you.
Hey Johnny, question on your like real deal Music Man EVH, is the neck the same as the Axis, particularly the one I have is a 96, so it was like the first year they made the Axis, and I'm just wondering, is it different?
Yeah,
I thought it would be because
the EVH one, the necks they're smaller.
Okay, because this one's pretty tiny.
The Axis ones they're similar, but they get wider the further down you go the neck. Yours gets wider, whereas the EVH is still pretty small.
That's what I thought. I mean, I didn't know how they were different. I thought they were different though because I had played a bunch of EVHs, like, you know, when I was in high school when they first came out, and I just couldn't afford one. I always wanted one. My buddy actually had the pink one. But I have an Axis I got now. Like I said, I just got it last year, and I'm like, this neck, it feels down, you know, near the first, second, third fret. It feels similar, but when you come up, it doesn't feel the same.
Yeah.
And also, I figured you'd know.
And also the Axis guitars have it doesn't have a flat back, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas the EVH, the back is totally flat.
I just noticed that the other day.
And then the switch, your switch is down by the volume.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, from the front, it pretty much, the guitars look very similar.
Yeah. I mean, I found one stupid cheap deal, so I was like, you know, and the lowest I could find a real one was like $3,500 or something, and I found, you know, like I said, I found this one for less than half of that. So
yeah,
you know,
and it's gorgeous. I remember you sending me the photo. You're like, I think I'm going to pick this up, and I'm like, yeah.
I had just sold a bunch of stuff, so the way I see it, it was like that was stuff I was going to put into other gear anyway if I got something. So I probably should have paid a bill, but
sorry, Tom. Hey, Ben and guys, I got to get going, but I appreciate you letting me hang out. And
well, thank you for coming on and sharing your EVH memories with us.
Yeah,
which is awesome.
So, thank you very much, Brad.
We'll talk soon, my friend.
Good guys.
You got my contact info.
Oh yeah. Bye, Amanda.
So Johnny, you know, Johnny's done a show or two based around the man EVH. So, and I know you've done some great stuff over the last week, and I do appreciate it. I've been catching a lot of that live, lurking, replays. Your favorite EVH memory? How about a favorite EVH memory?
It would have to be when I met him. You mean the guy or the guitar?
Either way.
Or the brand? No, by far. Meeting the dude and talking with him and joking around with him. You know, having him this close. He was right in my face, and I could smell his breath.
Wow.
You know?
That
was pretty cool. Yeah.
That is cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's one thing just a hi, how are you? Move on, but to actually have some interaction with the man.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I had a mutual friend introduce me to him.
Wow.
And yeah, he's just he was a normal dude. Just happens to play the guitar that we all like. He's not real comfortable. He wasn't really comfortable around a lot of people.
A few of us can
and-
relate to that, I'm sure.
Yeah, I have a good friend of mine that used to hang out with him at the NAMM shows back in the '80s every year, and he was telling me, well, he told me years ago how it would just be him, my friend Michael, and then Edward just hanging out together, like before the booth opened, like the Kramer
Wow.
booth. This is back in the Kramer days,
Sure.
and just talking just normal stuff. And then when all the people would swarm around them, Eddie didn't like that at all.
Right.
He'd rather
Wow.
get out of there.
Yeah.
Definitely. Hey, we got Ike from Flipside Music joining in. Or I assume it's Ike, unless Dylan's stolen the account again. Good to see you, man. Yes. Tom
Hey,
is
Ike.
rocking the Flipside gear tonight.
They have awesome hot sauce too. If you've ever
They do
ordered-
have awesome hot sauce.
if you ever
Yeah,
got
I'm
any
not gonna
from
lie.
Flipside, you might know.
Oh man,
I went through a bottle of Flipside hot sauce in 4 days.
I went through it in 3 meals.
in one day,
I like it. No, 2 days. 2 days. It was lunch, dinner, and then
Breakfast.
dinner the next. Yeah.
breakfast, lunch, and
Oh.
dinner.
Oh, I would put it on my eggs, but I ran out.
Yeah.
You're into eggs,
Yeah.
aren't you, Johnny? You have chickens, right?
I do, but they haven't really been laying eggs lately.
Oh, so my ex-wife has um, uh, egg-laying chickens, and then she has roasters as well. So they had slaughtered their roasters last year. I still have one frozen in the freezer, but we get eggs all the time. I don't usually, have to go buy them unless I want them in between, because they have like 10 or 12, or I don't know how many chickens, and it's like now they're just in cycle and going all the time. It's like, take the eggs.
Yeah,
And they're, I mean, you can attest to this. They're so much different than like your standard grocery market egg, like worlds apart.
night and day.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go like, what's the store you have out there? Like a supermarket, like
Wegmans or Whole Foods.
Wegman. Okay, Whole Foods. Yeah, we all have Whole Foods.
Okay.
If you go there, well, Whole Foods, they got the organic stuff there and
But I mean, it's a lot more too.
the cage free. Yeah, but yeah. Oh, there's nothing like picking up a warm egg
Mhm.
out of a coop.
and the yellow is like school bus yellow on a fresh, real organic
It's-
egg like that.
It's very different. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're
Would you
fluffier
say
when
even
you cook 'em up.
Bumblebee yellow, Tom?
Yeah,
Bumblebee yellow?
but like if you take a fresh warm egg, just bring some in, and you want to whip up like a souffle, it's gonna be super fluffy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
You piqued Ike's interest when you mentioned Wegmans. He's like, "Where you at, Tom?"
Oh,
We got he is a Rochester boy.
Okay, Wegmans is all over the place here. Wegmans and Wawa. Wawa's a gas station.
I've never heard of Wegmans.
Yeah, it's
I
just
only know
like
about
a-
it from watching American TV.
It's like a big. It would be like same thing you guys would have near where you live, Johnny, like a larger grocery store where they have like sushi and like whole beer sections and wine
It's like a
sections.
Ralph's.
Yeah.
Okay, when that
Not that I've been in a Wegmans and a Ralph's.
Like, I mean, you can buy your typical normal stuff, but then you can buy like super high end, like chanterelles and like super. I don't know all the rest of them, but high end mushrooms and cheeses and stuff. And then you can go buy. They actually have like full time sushi chefs, a couple of them employed there and stuff.
Oh wow.
They'll just make you stuff on demand and
that sounds like a Whole Foods.
similar to that. Yeah,
Kind
it's
of.
just larger, but
Oh, well, yeah. Then
Yeah,
if it's like a Ralph's, then that's like a Safeway. If it's the same Ralph's that we have in LA.
oh, I don't know. I was assuming, but yeah,
Yeah.
Ben might know.
Ike says Wegmans is from Rochester, New York, my hometown.
Yeah, they are
Exactly.
New York. Yep.
Will Varela wants to point out, being a retired chef, you were supposed to cook your eggs when they're at room temperature.
Oh.
Look for more videos and culinary skills on Cooking with Will on the Will Varela channel. El Scott Music says we have Gelson's for that. I've heard of Gelson's.
Nice.
Yeah, I think I've heard of that.
I think that's when I know I listen to too many podcasts, when I know about places like Gelson's and, you know, Ralph's, and I don't live in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Mark Dillon. Good to see you, man. He says, hey, from The Rock. Awesome.
Hey, Mark.
Awesome. I'll go for a few minutes here. So we get a few more questions in there, folks, or anything like that. Well, we're talking Eddie and the passing of possibly the greatest, probably the greatest, likely the greatest. Yeah, I'm going to say it the greatest.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
There's nobody else. There's never going to be anybody else like him, just as far as inspiration to musicians around the world.
Yeah.
There's never going to be anybody.
Well,
you know,
I think the simplest thing is I can say, like, for anybody that's watched my channel more than a month knows I play nothing like Eddie Van Halen, but he's still a huge influence on me. Whether it's attitude or, like, say, that infectious smile, like, can't help it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as far as a musician, I mean, he had everything, and you know, because he started on the piano when he was a kid,
right?
A little kid when he was like 6. I think he was 6 when he started the piano, and you know, he won all these piano competitions in school, like all these years in a row, just from copying by playing by ear.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know, yeah, and the last couple of Van Halen shows I saw in 2015, the second to last show, I was 10 rows back, which I couldn't believe.
Wow.
Like, I'd already met him a year or two previous, but I'd never seen him play guitar that close up in all the shows I've gone to, and I went to pretty much every tour since 0812. And to be 10 rows back and to see him just playing like right there, you know,
right?
It was just unbelievable, and I couldn't believe it.
That's nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Unfortunately, I never got to see Van Halen live. The only thing I can even remotely recollect is seeing Roy Clark live, and I think I was like 6th row, and just to see the mastery. And I wasn't into Roy Clark, so I can only imagine, you know, being in front of King Edward, just watching what he was doing.
Oh, I mean, watching anybody like front row, anybody that's great, anybody that's really, really good, or a master at what they do, it's inspiring no matter what, even if you hate the music.
Well, it's like you can almost feel the energy coming off of them, what they're putting out, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was always, you know, I've seen Van Halen numerous times, but I was always, you know, back far. I never had good enough tickets. But, you know, that to me is a different experience, what you saw, Johnny, you know, to be that close.
Right.
I couldn't believe it. And that was a weird show because thanks to YouTube, I had like 3 people that night say, "Hey, aren't you Johnny?" And I was the funniest. Well, wait, you got like a minute here. It was so weird. I parked my car. I'm walking towards the venue. Some guy comes walking by, and he's like, "Hey, you're Johnny Bean from YouTube." And I'm like, "Yeah." So I end up walking with him into the show. And the funny thing about what happened later on with that is I had a guitar, a Van Halen guitar that I had to sell, and I sold it to somebody else, and then the guy that I saw in the parking lot from that show ended up buying it from that guy.
Oh wow!
The same dude.
Wow.
Yeah. So he knows it as my guitar, so it's really weird. It's strange.
Wow.
And then the other weird thing about that show was I'm watching the show, you know, and then the show ends. This kid standing in front of me turns around and he's like, "Aren't you Johnny Bean?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And so we took a picture, and yeah, it was. Oh, and actually, I saw another guy. it's weird. You go to a concert and people know who you are because you're associated with that band, you know.
Sure. See, whereas I walk into an EVH booth at NAMM and I go, "Hey, aren't you Johnny Bean?"
Yeah. I had one guy walk up to me at the EVH booth one year, and he's just like staring at me, just staring, and I'm like, yeah, it's me.
Nice.
It was funny. It was
That's
funny.
good. Yeah, I mean, at least
Well, I will
say
say, one thing about missing out on NAMM being canceled in January is we don't get to meet up in January, which really stinks. So hopefully we can get things resolved so we can get back to getting together to celebrate music in person. And did you try the chowder? Yes, I tried the chowder.
Oh yeah, I didn't try it. I mean, it looks great. It looks great, but
it was pretty good. Not gonna lie, pretty good stuff.
I had the roast beef. I think I had dinner 3 nights in a row there at Mari's in Anaheim.
I was getting hungry watching those people streaming from there. I'm like, oh, food looks so good.
Yeah, I just remember you're talking about your NAMM adventures for the day, and someone going, "Hey, you're live! What? Oh, hey, YouTube, how's it going?" It was great.
There was a round table of, I want to say 4 or 5 people, and they were like, "We just want to see what happens. Go live all at once." So I have a big monitor. It's like 34 inches across, a single curved monitor. So I had them all staggered, and it was weird because when someone would turn, I had to close my eyes. You'd get vertigo. It's like all the cameras would turn in on themselves.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I watch a lot of live streaming. Like when a lot of stuff that I watch on YouTube are like live streamers and stuff. And and when they meet up, that's when you have 2 channels going at once. And it's like it's like 2 different camera angles of the same show.
Yeah.
And so what you do is you mute the audio to one, and you're just watching both. Yeah, I do that all the time.
So I had 5 going, and I was only muting 1. And there's a guy that was talking about this, and I think this would be amazing, but not to get too far off topic, but 4 or 5 people in one location, and then the player or the person can select what camera angle. Someone was mentioning that on your show Saturday night, Johnny, talking about the old Van Halen tapes. If you could find people at the same concerts, or if there was house footage of different angles, say, okay, I want to see Dave now. No, I want to go back to Eddie. I just want to stay with Eddie all night.
Yeah, well, that's. I just watched Eddie the entire time, every show I was ever at. You know.
Yeah.
I'd have the I was that kid with the binoculars. You know, watching.
Sure.
You know, like wow, I can't believe it's him. Can't believe it. You know.
I remember
there is some shows like that starting in like 98, starting in the late 90s. That's when people started to figure out, oh, we can sneak multiple cameras into shows and get different views and edit them all together into one video. Right. You know? So a lot of bootlegs, even to this day, probably. Although now everybody's just live. Everybody's like, I saw so many Van Halen shows thanks to Periscope. Yeah. Like that Jimmy Kimmel show when Roth hit himself in the nose.
Oh yeah. Right.
I was watching that live, sitting in the car, traveling back from here. That's when I was moving here at the time, traveling back to Walnut Creek. I was sitting in the passenger seat watching that show live on my phone, thanks to Periscope, thanks to some dude down the street that was streaming it, you know. But
that's cool.
So nice. a lot of stuff is streamed now, like everywhere.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah. I agree. Hey, Watchman for you. Good to see you. Renus Pinkle. Everybody's jumping in tonight.
What's up, Renus?
So, tonight's been a great show. Anything to add, Tom?
No, I just want to say thanks for having me on, Ben, and thanks, Johnny, for all the streaming you did last week and all the time, but especially on Tuesday, because I was literally there all 8+ hours, and my kids were like, "Are you okay? Maybe you should just turn your computer and your phone off." But it helped me a lot. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, man. I mean that's. I mean, if I hadn't have done that, it's not.
But I don't know how many people realize Johnny sat there ready to leave and didn't eat all day.
Yeah, I didn't eat. I didn't shower. I was sitting right here.
You were like a Buddhist monk.
I get alerts on my screen here of like, different stuff, and I got the alert instantly as soon as the news broke. Like as soon it was, there, I clicked on it, read it, was in shock, couldn't believe it. Had to, turn to my other computer here and make sure, it's true. And my phone started blowing up. People started messaging like out of people I hadn't heard of. People I didn't even know were asking me if I was okay, and 25 minutes later, it went live and sat here for 8 hours. Right. And I think at one point we had, what was it? Not 1,000. 10. No, we topped it. We topped at 10,000 live views.
Right.
At one point.
Yeah, and I do need to apologize, Johnny. You're one of the few I did not reach out to. I did put a few messages in the chat during your show, but it was just like the chat was crazy. We're all going crazy, and
at one point
you were hosting the wake. It felt like for a lot of us in the community, you were we were in that waiting room, hanging out, talking about the man, and on behalf of anyone that's watching, thanks for doing that, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're welcome. Everybody. I mean, it's just, it wouldn't have been normal if I hadn't.
Yeah. I remember, it was my cousin Doug. He texted me and literally the text message just said, fuck. And so I went, what's up? And he's like, EVH passed. And I'm like, what? So of course, I check and I open up Facebook, and the first thing I see is Adam Reaver's post. And I'm like, well, okay, I know it's legit if Adam's posting it. And I remember I tuned in Steve from Boston, who was just bawling his eyes out. I shot a quick little 2-minute video where I could barely talk. I wasn't going to play a guitar, that's for sure. Threw that out. And then right after Steve wrapped up, I jumped into your chat, and, I'm just in there, crying my eyes out watching you guys, basically doing the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's still it's a shock. It's not real, and it's. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. It's like, I talk about EVH guitars and Van Halen. Like every show I do, there's always something Van Halen.
Sure.
I mean, look, I got the sign and the guitar and.
Even if you were not to put EVH in a show title for 6 months, you're still going to be talking about it every show. Because you're known as that in many ways, as well as other stuff. But a lot of people know you for your EVH stuff.
Yeah, for a lot of years, for a long, because I've been doing
that's how I tuned in EVH forever. Live, and I went, that's somebody we can talk about. And I remember jumping in, and I went, oh, this is awesome! I found home.
Yeah, my first thing was EVH guitar effects. That's the first video I saw.
Nice.
And I just kept watching it over and over, and I was like, damn, he's got that nailed. Let me see what he's doing.
Yeah. Oh, the lesson stuff. Yeah, that stuff I learned watching that Unleashed show we were talking about.
Yeah.
Sure.
That John Beal has the script to, That's how I learned how to do all that stuff. And then eventually, I made my channel for my dog, but then eventually...
I used to watch the Howie videos, too.
Yeah, but then eventually I'm like, I got to do some lessons of some stuff, and those things just took off.
Ike was saying he sold out of all of his EVH gear by Thursday. Yeah, I think Ike was one of the last guys to have a Frankie available, and that's because apparently we overlooked it. He was one of the few that had one. It was gone pretty darn quick.
Mm-hmm.
Which I regret getting, Ike. Because I remember when Ike got his order in, he's like, do you want one? And we were talking. I'm like, well, if you can't sell it right away, let me know. Because I was going to do a payment thing, but I'd rather have Ike have all the money up front, obviously. And then with Ed's passing, I was just like, I'm not even going to contact Ike about it. Sell it, sell what you got. I get it. You're a businessman. So, yeah. But I do want to get one day. I'm hearing, if I ordered one today, I'll get it in March. It's that crazy right now.
Oh, man.
Well, it just shows that they made them right, I guess. From what I've heard, I haven't had my hands on one, but, everyone that's got one, and they're all, reliable sources that, we all know of or know. I mean, Johnny definitely knows them all, and they all, said they were great, right, Johnny?
Yeah, I played them. I played
Oh,
two
you
of them.
played them too? Oh, you played them at NAMM, okay.
I played two of them. Yeah,
Oh,
we
cool.
were, they let us in there.
That's awesome.
They let us in there when other people they let us stay after, and we were
cool.
when they're kicking everybody else out, they let us hang out, and that's when Mancuda or somebody discovered, wait, there's another one here. So there was two of them. There was two of them.
Were they cleaning them or something, or just maybe in case they had to restring them, or?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, they knew. I mean,
everybody was playing it, Tom. I think that was a spare in case it got dropped or
every. Pretty much, unless it's some sort of custom guitar, a one of a kind, most, like Fender especially, they have backups for everything there. There's not just one of that guitar.
Gotcha.
They have like another one stashed away. And that's when one of the guys found the other one. And so, we have pictures of Mancuda holding, two of them.
That's awesome.
And yeah, they're great, man. They're the EVH Stripe series. They get better and better every year. Every new model they put out is better than the last.
My question is, how did they make that price point? Are they made in Mexico?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. See, I think the Mexican made stuff like the Charvel stuff, those EVH things, they're just killing it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All that
I
stuff
was impressed
coming out
with
of
the
that
Shark
branch
guitar.
of Fender is killing it. I mean,
Mm-hmm. Oh, Fender Mexico was amazing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
they've made great stuff down there for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even I remember when they started doing, when they were either, I don't know did they switch over from doing all Mexican from Japan, or was it, I don't remember if it was, they were existed at the same time, but I remember I couldn't get a made in Japan anymore. And someone said, oh, they have made in Mexico standard Strats. And it was almost half the price of American Standard at the time. So I had one of those for a while. And it was great, man. It sounded awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. My main guitar for a long time was a Mexican Tele.
Sure.
Yeah.
But then this guy from the police signed it, and I stopped playing it live. Because the writing is starting to come off.
Oh yeah.
I bet. So rather than saying, Johnny, do you have anything to add? What's on tap tomorrow on your channel?
Insanity.
Good.
It'll be a little bit of everything. I think we'll continue talking about EVH, of course. And just AC/DC. AC/DC has a new song or record. Lot of different stuff. And then Friday, my friend that I was talking about earlier, his name is Michael Gutierrez. The one that owns an actual striped Beretta that Eddie gave him. He's going to be on with me on Friday.
Was he the NAMM winner?
Yeah, the kid. Yeah.
That's awesome.
In '85.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
wow.
He was endorsed with Gary Kramer. And
wow.
That's how I met Gary, was through him. And we were actually supposed to go back down to Gary's place is only a couple hours from me. And we were down there a few years ago, and then that's when Gary signed my Ripley. And then we were going to go back again, but then all this happened, So we're not going. We'll probably go back down there eventually and do an interview with Gary once things get back to normal, I think.
Sure.
Cool.
Yeah, and let's hope things do get back to normal, because we all gotta get things going. Those who are gigging, get back out gigging, and we get back to these NAMM shows so we can make crazy videos and go live from restaurants eating chowder and all kinds of fun stuff. So I like that. So that's on a good note. So we'll wrap it up here, folks. Thanks everybody that tuned in tonight. I appreciated everybody that donated to the channel. Shout out to the Patreons. Oh yeah, it is the Monday show, so I'm supposed to shout you guys out. Shout outs to No Cover Charge, Brian from Oregon, Fruitcake Tony, Grumpy Mike Guitar, JP Page 2, ZD351, Craig Tomlinson, Randy Kirks, Blackjack Guitar Nut, Ivan Carter, Todd Flowers, Bent Tom, Jose Benito Martinez Jr., Brad Miller, Brian Landreth, Charles Green, Will Varela, Charles 75N, Unfucking Believable, and Canuck Held Zero, and Absolute Mayhem. There we go. Take a breath.
All in one.
There we are.
Right.
So, I'll say shameless plug, folks. I have a new video coming out Wednesday. Something a little different on the channel. A different route in the way I get my tone, we'll say. I'll leave it as that. And until next time, as always, hold those doors open. Let that guy in ahead of you in traffic. Do good things, and good things will happen to you. Karma is real. I'm living the dream. I'm sure Tom is. I know Johnny is. So cheers, rock on, and be good to each other, folks.